Hey, this is Bryce Harper, and welcome to the Phillies Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Phillies Show. Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zielecki. It's Monday, September 2nd, 2024. And none of us have as good of a setup today as one Ruben Amaro Jr. Look at you, buddy.
Dude,
Living the
my
good life
buddy,
down. Where are you?
I'm in Brigantine, right on the peninsula, man. My buddy from high school, actually my brother's best friend, John Sarkeesian. He's a great dude, and their family's awesome. They're like, brothers and sisters and cousins. I decided, man, a couple days off, a couple national games. Guess who's going down to the shore?
Looks like you're going to run on a jet ski.
Yeah, they got jet ski. They got.
You can take the jet ski home from right there.
Wow. Yeah, it's awesome. Got to get ready to go to Toronto, though, so I got to roll out of here. But looking forward to chatting with you boys about this weekend.
Yeah, what a weekend. Jim, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was bueno. Beautiful. Chilled. Cooking some Phillies games. It was fun.
Did you do any grilling?
I did some grilling, yes. Most weekends include some grilling. And I threw some stuff on the grill, and it was great.
All right. So Phillies have a big weekend. I mean, huge weekend. They win 3 out of 4, guys, and every game was pretty fun, pretty intense. Last night, Nick Castellanos again coming through. Great pitching performance from Aaron Nola. Great pitching performance from the bullpen. Carlos Estévez, 2 scoreless innings in the 10th and the 11th innings. What did you guys think about this weekend in general? I'm not going to say the NL East race is over, but man, they have if you do the math, they're in a incredibly strong position to win their first division title since 2011.
They took a huge step toward it with really great pitching, I think, throughout the homestand. Kind of one of those homestands, I think, that after kind of going up and down a little bit, this really, I think, firmly set everything in a good direction. They're up 7, second best record in the National League, still slugging it out with the Dodgers for that. But I was so encouraged by the pitching, starting pitching, Wheeler, Nola, both brilliant throughout the homestand, and the bullpen. I think they had one game where they had a hiccup, but, you look at the box scores, the next morning after every game, and you see a string of zeros for the bullpen. I think the bullpen is really righted the ship. What Estévez did last night is hard to do. One reason I don't like the ghost runner thing is the whole object of the game is to get on first base or prevent the other team from getting on first base, because when you get on base, that's how your score runs. Now all of a sudden you're parachuting a guy right to second base. Really hasn't earned his way there. So to me, it's not what baseball's about. That said, it's where we are, and he did a great job in those 2 innings there.
Yeah, great effort by everybody. I think it was just a lot of team wins. You're getting contributions from a couple of different guys, but it's always about pitching, boys. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about pitching. And I know that Atlanta team doesn't have Riley. They don't have Acuna. They don't have Albies. I get it. And that's a lot of firepower, but they have to win the games.
Yeah.
And, they're a little banged up too. We'll talk about that later. But that said, they have to figure out ways to win baseball games. And while they did not win the season series against the Atlanta Braves, and hopefully it doesn't come down to like any tiebreakers or anything like that, I don't think it will. They did play well enough to split it and to put themselves in a great spot, I think.
And the Braves were really, the Mets. The Mets were really happy with the Phillies taking, winning a series 3 or 4 against the Braves, because now all of a sudden the Mets are just a game back in the wild card, just a game back of the Braves. So there's a real interesting development there. So the Phillies.
Never know. You never know.
You get to this time of year, victories impact so many other teams as well, victories and losses.
So, like, doing the math, right? Like, Phillies have a 7-game lead with 25 games to play. And I like doing this just because I think it helps put things in perspective for Phillies fans. So if the Phillies would go 12-13 the rest of the way, they play a game under 500. Right now, they're really picking up steam. I would be surprised, I guess, if that happens. But if they did go 12-13, they'd finish 93-69. The Braves would need to go 19-6 to tie. That's a 760 winning percentage. They haven't had a stretch like that all season. Their best stretch was 18-7 at the very beginning of the season when they had Acuna, Riley, Strider, Albies, all those guys. So again, nothing has been decided, but they're in a great position as they go on the road this week. Nick Castellanos had a great quote last night talking about the energy at the ballpark this week against the Astros and the Braves, and he said it feels like October is around the corner, and it kind of did. The energy in the ballpark was pretty intense. And yes, if you look at the calendar, it is right around the corner. There's a month to go.
He had another big walk-off for him. He's got like 5 of them this year. He's such a feel player. And he derives a lot of positive vibe, I think, from the audience, from the fans, from the big sellout crowds. I think he feeds off it a lot. I think he's a player that, he needs love. And when he gets love, I think he performs better. Now it becomes chicken and the egg. You have to perform to get the love, but wherever it comes from, when he's got that good feel coursing through his veins, he's an awfully productive player, and he ain't missing mistakes this whole homestand.
Both of those.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. He's one of those guys, again, one of the best right-handed producers over the last 8 to 10 years. I mean, one of the better right-handed producing bats. Has had some ups and downs here with the Phillies, but when it gets right down to it, that's a bat you want because he's had success. He knows how to hit. He works the ball through the middle of the field pretty consistently, and when he's swinging at pitches in the strike zone, he's usually getting them right now.
Mm-hmm.
You think back to the home run he hit off of Verlander. He fell behind 0-1. I think the home run he hit on Thursday against Grant Holmes, I think he started that in a hole. And then both of his hits last night, he started 0-2 to Spencer Schwellenbach. Came back, hits that double to left center field last night in the 11th inning, again against Grant Holmes. He starts 0-2, and then Holmes just fires a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and he rips it right up the middle. So some pretty good hitting for a guy that, I mean, every hitter is, you look at the major league averages when a guy is 0-2, it's like 140, 350 OPS. But last night, Nick Castellanos, 2 for 2, an extra base hit, walk-off hit. And
he didn't try to do 0-2. 0-2, you're not trying to swing from your, shoe tops. It's just use the bat head, put the ball in play. That's what he did. Line drive up the middle. It's a good piece of hitting, man. Just a good piece of hitting.
What an amazing concept, actually trying to make contact with 2 strikes. Isn't it a thing of beauty?
Right. And you're a strong man. You're going to hit it hard.
And you can actually be productive when you try to make contact.
Win a ball game.
Well, it is interesting that he has kind of developed this 2-strike approach where apparently he's spread out a little bit more. And, I know a lot of hitters, not every hitter, but a lot of hitters do that. And he's kind of employed that. And last night you saw the benefits of Nick Castellanos, 2-0-2 big hits.
You would think that some other teams and players would do that a little bit more often.
He's the poster child now.
Should be.
Right? We will be right back.
We're looking for real ways to boost our nutrition and just found a protein shake that actually tastes amazing. It's called Orgain, and it's been a game changer.
Orgain is the leader in real protein-powered nutrition that understands that being good for you doesn't have to taste bad. It's the organic ingredients we're looking for, but I don't want a grainy battle with my taste buds every day. You know what I'm saying? It's giving smooth milkshake vibes. That's Orgain, and they have a brand new 30-gram complete protein shake that offers protein-packed real nutrition designed to satisfy your cravings without all the sugar.
It gives me energy, provides muscle support, and helps manage hunger too. It's also made without soy ingredients and made with no artificial flavors or sweeteners. Orgain 30-gram protein shakes are available at Costco and Orgain.com. If you want to get in on the delicious protein-packed nutrition today, head to Orgain.com/foul and use the code FOUL for 20% off your order. Once again, that's Orgain.com/foul for 20% off
And make sure you use promo code FOUL so they know FT sent you.
And we are back, and it is time for Philly of the Week. Philly of the Week presented by Shibe Vintage Sports. Get unique throwback Phillies tees, hats, and sweatshirts from local artists at their shops in Center City, Wayne, and Westchester, and of course at shibesports.com. I was actually at their Wayne store the other day dropping off some signed copies of Doc, The Life of Roy Halladay. So if you need a copy, you can swing by the Shibe stores for that. But really cool store. The Wayne store, I've been to the Westchester store and brought my kids there. And of course, they have baseball cards there and Pokemon cards there. My kids are rifling through the Pokemon cards as I'm dropping off these these books. And of course, they go right to the ones that are in like special sleeves, like the expensive ones. And they come up and go, "Can we get these?" I'm like, "Nah, don't bend them, please. Please do not bend those cards. We can't afford you to bend a Charizard." You guys know who Charizard is, right?
Of course, man. I've been looking for Charizard for years.
Yeah.
Really?
Can't find him anywhere. Can't find Charizard anywhere.
Charizard's a good one, Jimmy. If you can find an original Charizard, you could be living right where Ruben is right now.
Is that like an original Tidwell?
Rod Tidwell?
Exactly.
Who are we talking about?
An original Tidwell.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. You lost me there, Jim. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm no artist.
All right, we're going to see if anybody in the comments knows what an original Tidwell
I'm
is.
sure they do.
Put it in the comments. Let us know. Ruben, we haven't started with you yet. Give me your Philly of the week. Who do you got?
Well, I have Phillies of the week. I got the bullpen, man. The bullpen shut down. Unbelievable. It's a turnaround, huge turnaround. All of them. I mean, basically, Orion Kirkering has been outstanding. Strom has been solid. Hoffman outstanding, and Estévez. I mean, I love that trade for Estévez. People was like under the radar because he was playing for the Angels, and the Angels suck. And they had no idea. They had no idea who he was or what he was about. But I love this dude. He fires. He works fast. He throws it over the plate. He's not afraid. He goes after him. I know he had one blip. I think he walked in a run or something. He just couldn't find the strike zone or his slot. One of those ball games. But I love the way he goes about it. Anyway, bullpen, they are my Phillies of the week.
Wow.
Next.
Jimmy, who you got?
I stole you.
Yeah,
I stole you.
The way the bullpen performed against Atlanta, they had 3 big games where they just racked up zeros. I'm almost tempted to say Taijuan Walker for his active, great teammateship and unselfishness and picking up those 2 extra innings and getting the bullpen a little rest. But how can I ignore? And if Ruben's going to go a group, I'm going Wheeler and Nola.
Okay.
During this homestand, they combine. They both pitched 13 innings and allowed 2 runs. Wheeler has like 2 walks and 13 strikeouts. Nola has 2 walks and 15 strikeouts. So there's 26 innings they picked up and 4 runs. So Wheeler and Nola are my Phillies of the week.
Well, I'm going to take the cop out. We just talked about him. I'm going Nick Castellanos. Big game Nick.
There's
2
another
home
name
runs.
you can use for him.
I'm not. We're going to keep this a
big,
family. We're going to keep this
Richard
a family.
Nick.
Yeah,
Big Richard Nick.
we're going to keep this a family show for now. You never know. One of my nephew might be listening in the car or something coming home from school. And we're like, what does that mean? But now I'm going to go Nick, of course. 3 big games, that big home run against Verlander on Tuesday, the go-ahead home run in the 7th inning on Thursday, and of course the 2 huge 0-2 hits on Sunday. Yeah, that's kind of a layup, kind of an easy cop-out one, but hey, he had a huge week. And he gave them some serious distance in the NL East.
It is not a cop-out one. He completely deserves it.
I feel like you guys have more creativity. This is
I just got to say this. While I'm watching the game on my phone, I'm at a party last night. It was like a Jersey Shore party down here in Binghamton. It was an unbelievable party, a birthday party for somebody. And I'm watching the game, and he scores it. I mean, he drove in that run, and I'm like, awesome. And I'm like tweeting some of my buddies, Big Richard Nick, but I was using a different word. Coming through. It was awesome. Anyway, it was a great win. I was excited for him, man. That was great stuff.
Yeah, it's
good.
The vibe in the clubhouse post game, obviously everybody's excited. Carlos Estévez was great, saying, somebody asked him, what have you learned about this Phillies Braves rivalry? And he said, I learned that we don't get any cold feet, which is a very cool thing. So, I mean, he was very complimentary of what he's seen from his team in terms of, they were down in a couple of these games and tight games. And he said, wow, these guys aren't the Angels. He didn't say that, but, I'm sure.
I can say it. They stink.
Yeah. So I think Carlos Estévez is very happy that he is part of the Philadelphia Phillies ball club.
Ruben, you got to be careful. You are a legendary former Angel.
Yeah, well, I'm legendary. All right. I was there for 1 minute. And I did interview for like 1 second for that GM job and on the phone, and that was a quickie. Anyway, I wish them the best. I hope they bounce back, but it'll be a while.
Right. It'll be a while.
It'll be a long time.
Yeah. So we got rosters expanded.
Oh, I knew. I wanted to bring up something if I could. I'm sorry.
All right, go for it.
Can I take the controls?
Yeah, take the wheel.
So, you, Todd, broke a very significant story in my mind earlier in the weekend. Bryce Harper admitted to you that he's banged up with a little elbow issue and a little wrist issue. We've seen him wear that sleeve that's kind of the size of a Buick. And, he typically doesn't let on when he's banged up or hurting, but great piece of reporting. What can you tell us about that?
Well, so I mean, he had been wearing that sleeve since Monday. I went back and started looking at the games, and that sleeve looked different than the sleeves that he usually wear, which usually has some creativity or flair to it. And so he just happened to be sitting by his locker on Friday, and I've been wanting to talk to him, ask him about it for a while, because he hadn't been hitting for power, and but he hadn't really been in the clubhouse, probably getting treatment pregame and postgame. Hadn't really had the opportunity, but he happened to be sitting in his locker right before the clubhouse closed on Friday. So I just kind of went over to him and asked him if I could bother him. And honestly, Jim, I said to him, I said, I noticed you've been wearing this black sleeve this week. And I said, it ain't one of your cool ones either. And I kind of had a pride out of him, I guess. He said, I asked him if he was banged up. He said, we're all banged up. Everybody's dealing with something right now. But I said, is your elbow bothering you? Is your wrist bothering you? And then he kind of reluctantly said, yeah, it's bothering me. But he said that the wrist has been bothering him since May. He doesn't know how he did it. And he said the elbow is more recent. Then I said, is this Tommy John stuff? And he said it's in a different part of the elbow. So he feels fortunate there. But he's hopeful that the wrist is finally turning a corner, and he's hopeful that he'll be better by the postseason. I don't know if that's possible. I think it'd be great for the Phillies to lock this thing up early and maybe give him a couple days to get any irritation out of here. But it certainly has affected him. He probably said like 10 times, I do not want to make any excuses. I do not want to make any excuses. I kind of continued to ask him about it. He did not want this to sound like, like I said, I kind of had to pry it out of him because he did not want to. He wasn't coming up to me and said, by the way, if you want to know why I haven't heard since August 9th, it's because I got this and this going on. I mean, but he said he figured somebody was going to ask him eventually because he had been wearing that thicker sleeve since Monday against the Astros.
I was doing pre and post. And when you broke that story, you broke it just before we went on pre, and we talked about that a little bit. And then that very first at bat that night, he turned on a ball and smoked one down the right field line for a double. And then he hit another double that he didn't hit real hard. He got in on him, and then he flipped it out to left field. Actually, got to the warning track and left. So he went double to right, double to left. And I thought to myself, wow, maybe he is starting to come out of it, because it looked like his bat speed looked different to me. And I know he's a very violent swinger anyway. And wrists are one of those really tricky things. I think that there was a real play, and I don't know if this was the play, but there was a play that he made diving. He's taking a lot of dives to make plays down the line and stuff like that. I think he rolled his wrist one of those times and hurt himself there, I think, but I'm not sure. And I think that's his left wrist. It's his right elbow, and I think it's his left wrist. And anytime I'm not sure if that's right, but it seems to me that I've seen him like take his top hand off the bat at times. I've seen him, not because he typically finishes with two hands. I've seen his hand, top hand come off, which is his left wrist. And I have a feeling that's one of the reasons why he didn't pinch hit that one day when Rob Thompson was getting skewered.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's any question about it. And there's always a reason. And I know people were like crushing him. And even me, I mean, I was questioning what the hell's going on? And why wouldn't you use the other guy?
Right.
Well, it makes sense to me now that, you're going to pinch hit. The first guy you're going to pinch hit, who's the guy? It's Harper. You're not going to pinch it with Real Muto on the bench before you pinch it for Harper. So then the question is, if Real Muto pinch hits and Harper doesn't, then there's a question. Then alarms go off, right? Does that make sense?
Totally.
So anyway, I mean that's one of the reasons I think that happened that game, and everybody's sort of up in arms. But there's always a reason. I was questioning it myself, and so there's obviously a reason, and I have a feeling that might have been it. That said, it's great to see his, one, acknowledging it, and two, I think that they're treating it obviously, and hopefully he can just play through it. Nothing more important than your hands and your wrist, hands and feet, right? Hands and feet in baseball. And if you're neither of them are functioning at 100%, it makes the game tougher. But it sounds like they're coming along, and hopefully it continues to build. He's not going to take himself off the field right now for soreness. If it's injury, it's one thing, but for soreness, he's not coming out of the ball game. He's going to be playing, especially now.
It explains some of the power outage, no?
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
But I know it's just this is a team that needs to slug, and they've proven it on this homestand. They hit home runs and they won a lot of ball games. They need to slug and hit the ball in the gaps. And this guy's a big part of it. He's playing through it. He's a gamer. He's tough, but it's to me still a concern that he's not injured but hurting, and he's such an important guy going into such an important part of the season. So I think it's a significant concern for me.
Ruben, you mentioned how he had shown some signs on Thursday on this homestand. He actually had, it was the best offensive performer, an OPS over 1,000. Only Phillies player on this homestand with an OPS over 1,000. A lot of doubles, some walks, getting on base. So maybe that's a sign of things moving in the right direction. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think they would love. I mean, maybe he needs it, maybe he doesn't. But I would think that if they could wrap this thing up in the next couple weeks, wrap up the division title, maybe they can get him to rest for a couple games. I don't know if he would want that, but it might help. It might help.
Again, they're still chasing that, that best record.
Best record too.
That's going to be an issue as well. I mean, I know. I guess they won the season series with the Dodgers, in case there is a tiebreaker there. But still, and I think they won the season series with Milwaukee as well. Is that correct? Or
they swept the Brewers. They got the Brewers coming up in a couple weeks, so I guess they could split that season series if the Brewers would sweep them. So if the Brewers Phillies win just one game against the Brewers, they'll win that season series. But right now, yeah, I think the Dodgers are game up, then it's the Phillies, and then the Brewers are a game behind the Phillies in the standings for those top two NL postseason seeds.
And speaking of hands, I mean, Alec Boehm's been banged up. Need him back, feeling good. So it is the time of the year. Harper's right. It is the time of the year when everybody's banged up. I just get a kick out of people when they say baseball doesn't take a toll on you. These guys are pounding on their bodies, boom, on the ground all the time. I mean, you strap it on 162 nights a year. It's a grind. I know the cliche about it being a marathon, but it's just such a test of your endurance and your health and your mind. But your body does take a pounding day after day after day. And this time, September is when guys feel it. It's also the time when you need to, play through it. And in Harper's case, they need Bohm back. You need your best guys to be your best guys at this time of year if you want to get to where you're going. So a lot of respect for Harper playing through this thing and grinding. And we saw it with the elbow in 2022, when he hurt it like the first week of the season. And he just, grind through it. So, but it's a big piece going forward here as this team tries to accomplish what it needs to and what it wants to.
Hey, I gotta give a shout out to Edmundo Sosa, please, because I think that every time he has to come in and be a part of, whether it's for Trey Turner or for Alec Bohm or whatever, for come up with some big hits. I mean, he crushed that one home run.
Oh boy.
Off of Fried. It sort of electrified the team a little bit just to get things going. I mean, I love that player, man. And he's so important to this team. Every good team has role players on that team that can do some things. And he has really been a tremendous find for this team on a bunch of different levels. Great human being, really good player. And he's providing a lot more offense than I think anybody ever thought he would provide for this team. I just love what he's done as a role player.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job in that role. I mentioned earlier, rosters expanded. Tyler Phillips came up yesterday. Cody Clemens came up yesterday. Tyler Phillips is going to start the series opener on Tuesday against the Blue Jays. Chris Bassett will face the Phillies. And then on Wednesday, it's going to be Christopher Sanchez versus Bowden Francis. And then they play 4 over the weekend against the Miami Marlins.
The lowly Marlins.
So
did you guys,
the Marlins have nothing to lose. So
did you guys see where that Aiden Miller had 5 hits on Sunday and has been promoted to Double-A? Apparently, that's he's just a little over a year out of high school and he's headed to Double-A.
That's unbelievable. We've talked about him a little bit. People talk about, untouchable guys and, remember the trade deadline and the Phillies got to go out and give up this guy and that guy. The Phillies did not want to give up Aiden Miller. They think he is going to be a star player. And immediately, I think somebody mentioned this last night or in the last week, him playing shortstop with Trey Turner there. And Ruben, you can speak to this, right? These things will sort themselves out, man. If Aiden, what are the Phillies going to do with Aiden Miller? You got Alec Bohm at third base for the next few years. You got Trey Turner locked up at shortstop for the next 9 years. Don't worry about it, I would say.
Good problem.
Hey,
good
listen,
problem to have.
If a guy like Bryson Stott doesn't start being Bryson Stott and being like a solid player, he may find himself as a bench player or utility player. Aiden Miller might take his job. Who knows?
Right.
But the more talent you have, the better. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying it's going to push some people. Hey, heads up, here he comes. Because one of the things that they really need, I think, there's a lot of swing and miss in this team. One of the things that is important to them is somebody who makes consistent contact. You need more Alec Bohms on this team, and you need guys who can just make more consistent contact and not strike out as much. And
Right.
Aiden Miller seems to be one of those guys. He's putting the bat on the ball. And I don't know. Of course, it's in the minor leagues. I get it. And it's going to change. It may very well change. I haven't gotten a chance to put my eyes on him, but it seems like he's one of those hitters that's a pretty pure hitter. And he can make consistent contact, not a big strikeout guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought.
Yeah, now that he gets to Double-A, now we can start watching it'll be the Aiden Miller watch. When's he going to be up? Is he going to be up next season? Whatever the case may be. So, but we will be back. We know we will be back on Wednesday. So, they'll already have played one game in Toronto. So, guys, we'll chat with you then.
Smell it in, boys.
Smell you, Jim.
This is The Phillies Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Phillies Show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. If you like what we do, give us a review. Tell a friend. Catch Ruben, Jim, and me on Phillies Nation TV, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. New episodes air an hour before every Saturday Phillies game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Replays air throughout the week and on PhilliesNation.com. Get more of Ruben's analysis during, before, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Read Jim at the All City Network at allphly.com. Find more of me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and occasionally on MLB Network.